made a deposit, and you can get this too. Add your mobile to your Flow home internet for elevated savings of 50% off your mobile plan each month. Visit the Flow store or discoverflow.co to sign up today.
St. Catherine, it's your week in our I Love Summer campaign. Be sure to stay tuned daily for our special features designed to highlight the parish of St. Catherine. And speaking of highlights and features, tune in this Tuesday, June 22 at 5:30 p.m. for the feature From the Farmer's Mouth that's designed for farmers with guests who are farmers, as we have a chit chat with our guest, Nothia Morgan, farmer at the Morgan Sunrise Egg Farm in St. Catherine. We'll be talking all things egg farming, and it'll be coming from the farmer's mouth this Tuesday, June 22, 5:30 p.m. right here on the family station. We're taking I Love Summer to the nation. Woo-hoo!
Telling you about your friend, the story comes straight from the farmer's mouth.
You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. We Jamaicans have been practicing this for years, a long time sing ting. There's a family in need, a child in distress. You open your heart and home to love up the child as your own. Them glad bag bus and yours too for years and years to come. Jamaican Christians, we need you to come in and fill up the village. Taking a child and raise him as your own. Taking a child and build up the nation. Ask Family Life Ministries about the For the Child Foster Care Program. Call 876-816-0889 today. This message is brought to you by Family Life Ministries in partnership with the Child Protection and Family Services Agency and Nairn Family Homes, Canada.
Good evening, and welcome to everyone joining us here. I'd like to say a special welcome to those joining us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live on the Love 101 Facebook page and Love 101 YouTube channel. Family time is about your issues and your relationships, your at-home family, your community family, and your global family. Family time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. Stay with us and please join in. I'm your host this evening, Theresa Benjamin. Assuming that we all want to earn a living, how eligible are we for the employment that we seek? Dr. Lakim Samaj is our guest this evening, and he's here to help us examine our attitudes towards employment. Before we do that though, here's what we want you to do. Tell us, what makes you an asset to your business? WhatsApp your text and voice notes. Ensure those voice notes are no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125 and post on the Love 101 Facebook page. Or you can give us a call on our studio lines, 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. And throughout the program, we'll share it. We'll share what you share with us. Our topic today is I Want a Job. We'll be right back.
Bring the family back. Bring the family back.
Theologian Dr. Russell Moore once wrote, "What better way is there to bring the good news of Christ than to see his unwanted little brothers and sisters placed in families where they'll be raised in the nurture and admonition of the Lord?" End of quote. I think this is why James 1:27 equates caring for the fatherless in distress as pure religion before God. If you're a Jamaican Christian, find out how you can live out the gospel by caring for a little brother or sister in need. Ask Family Life Ministries about the For the Child Foster Care Program. Call 876-816-0889 today. This message is brought to you by Family Life Ministries in partnership with the Child Protection and Family Services Agency and Nairn Family Homes, Canada.
As the celebrations around Father's Day have passed and we've headed our own, what images of father have we honored and praised? When our fathers look at themselves, what do they see? Is our image of father healthy? You'll find the answers to these questions and more on The Rock with host Pastor Harris Steve Blair and guests Reverend Clinton Chisholm and Reverend Dr. Garnet Roper as they discuss the father image. That's a discussion on the father image this Tuesday, June 22 at 10 a.m. on The Rock, found only at this location, Love 101 FM, the family station. The Rock, solid, objective, substantial.
You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. We Jamaicans have been practicing this for years, a long time sing ting. There's a family in need, a child in distress. You open your heart and home to love up the child as your own. Them glad bag bus and yours too for years and years to come. Jamaican Christians, we need you to come in and fill up the village. Taking a child and raise him as your own. Taking a child and build up the nation. Ask Family Life Ministries about the For the Child Foster Care Program. Call 876-816-0889 today. This message is brought to you by Family Life Ministries in partnership with the Child Protection and Family Services Agency and Nairn Family Homes, Canada.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that no vaccines will be administered on Monday and Tuesday, June 21 and 22, 2021. Persons with their second dose due on these 2 days are asked not to visit any vaccination centers, but to await contact from the regional health authorities with details of their new appointment. Second dose vaccinations will resume on Wednesday, June 23 for persons 50 years and older, with a full rollout of second dose vaccinations for all ages in short order. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
Let's get up and go. Time to explore.
It's here! I love summer!
The time you have been waiting for is here.
Don't miss out on the exciting features and engaging discussion.
As Love 101, the family station goes through the nation,
highlighting people, places, and the peculiar promises of Jamaica land we love.
It's I Love Summer. You won't be bored.
You will laugh and play.
You will worship and pray.
You'll be educated and edified.
Don't miss a beat.
I love summer. It's time to explore.
I love it. 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 I love summer.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101. Our topic today is I want a job. And as my guest and I discuss this, we want to know what makes you an asset to any business. WhatsApp your texts and voice notes, ensuring those voice notes are no longer than 30 seconds, to 876-997-3125. And you can post your comments on the Love 101 Facebook page, or you can give us a call on our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-938-28. Let me repeat that number, 876-968-8328. And those are the numbers to give us a call on our studio lines and participate. And throughout the program, we will be sharing your thoughts. With us this evening is Dr. Leakim Samaj. He's a psychologist and founder and chief ideator of Above and Beyond. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. It's above or beyond.
Above or beyond.
You
My
don't want to
apologies.
get me above and beyond is the actual trade for Land Rover. We are above or beyond.
Above or beyond. All right. I've made a correction. How are you, sir? Welcome.
I'm good.
It's great to have you. So, as the original job bank, you know all things to do with hiring and being hireable, being that selected employee, and that's our main focus for today, especially with regards to our young people, those who are entering the job market for the first time, those who are leaving with secondary and tertiary education accomplishments, and those with high expectations and lofty goals, those who think it's their world and they can do and have anything that they want, those whose dreams and expectations have been dashed or disappointed, and anybody who fits anywhere within that range.
Yes.
So to start the discussion, what is the point of employment? Why is this something that we are groomed for all through school, and that is a thing that we then look forward to becoming employed? What's the point behind it all?
Well, let's take a little more complicated with it. All right, how about work? Because we're really talking about work, not employment. Work is a human need. All right, we have two basic needs: work and intimacy. Something to do and someone to love. So everyone needs to work. Now, employment is just one version of work.
Okay.
Whereby you're gonna exchange your talent and skill and labor for money. But why it's important that we raise this? Do you realize that there are some parents who never teach their children about that? What they teach their children is that you need to just own the means of production. We, the black people in Jamaica, we the poor people children, we're the ones who were told, go to school, study hard, pass your exam, and go beg somebody at work. You understand what I'm saying? It's a big difference. The notion that owning the means of production is never something that we were ever taught. You must go beg at work. You must go look at work. Because prior to the industrial age as such, work was at home and in your community. I mean, people, you worked, what your parents did, you did that. You learned the skills necessary to survive. But then once the industrialization, now you had factories and then you had offices and so on, and the notion, so now you need to now have a skill that now fits in with somebody else's agenda. So you prepare yourself for that. I think it's important for us to put this in place, because work is absolutely necessary, but employment, and let's face it now, look, if you're in a country like Jamaica where the job creation is so limited in terms of the government and other entities, part of what we also need to learn, as young people need to learn, they need to learn not just how to be educated, but they need to learn also job creation skills. Because if there's no work, what do you do?
Yes.
If nothing is happening. So let's just also just broaden the construct to make sure that we understand that the images, the things that people do, and it's also faulty when we give children the notion that, listen, you can be anything you want to be, That sounds good, but guess what? It's not really true that you can be anything you want to be. So when I talk to young people, and typically not before you reach teenage, you're finishing C-Sec and so on. Anything else before it is total fantasy. Even by the time you go to college, then you're seriously starting to think about what you want to be and how. I start with some very basic questions. You know what one basic question?
What are some of those basic questions?
Where, as an adult, where do you want to live? Where? And what do you mean where? What country you want to live in? Now, look at this. There are many young people, many Jamaicans who are now living in Texas. They have a plan for that, But guess what? They end up with a career in aerospace engineering. You do have too many aerospace jobs in Mandeville. So by default, you're going to end up living in Houston, Texas, or in Florida. So that how you want to live. If you say, boy, I want to live very comfortable and so on, you're ruling out a lot of things now, because what you're going to earn from these things. So it's these kinds of questions, I want to encourage young people to start raising those kind of questions, not just a fantasy. Another one, look, I want to be a la 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 la. All right. So you go out and you borrow money now, student loan, to be a la 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 la. You get your degree in la 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 la, and then start to borrow. I can't find a job in la 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 la. Did you research it first to find out what did the world need? La 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 la.
Mm-hmm.
Are people how are la 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 being paid? Do you have the skill and the competence to be a la 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 la? But no, you have the degree and the training. But I can't get no job and I have my degree in la 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 la. So it's important for us to just broaden this construct, not just the typical thing: go to school, study hard, pass your exam, and beg a work.
You touched on the industrial age and the creation of this concept of employment to fill the vision and the construct of another individual or another entity,
Yes.
as opposed to that individual thought almost, or entrepreneurial thought.
Yes.
In a broad way, how have some of the attitudes to employment, to work, changed between the birthing of the industrial age and what we're seeing now in modern day, especially within the COVID dynamic?
Significantly. And that's why so many of our young people and adults too are being left behind. Because other people are actively creating their own visions and dreams of what they want to achieve. So then, if you notice how many of our people, all we were able to do at some, well, let's go all the way back after the abolition of slavery. Huh? Many of our people decided to just head for the hills and just became subsistence farmers. But then now, after a while, they got employment now back on the same farms that they were working before. And then a lot of subsistence activity. But then now, over time, government employment became the big thing. And if you notice in Jamaica, black people headed towards government jobs. Other ethnic groups headed towards owning the means of production. You realize you go around Jamaica, every community, no matter how rural, there's a Chinese wholesale. Someone who can barely even speak English came here because it's the land of opportunity, saw a need and created a wholesale. And so we made some big mistake. We aspired to get a work, to get a job. And by the way, we were helped in that direction. There were laws in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean that made it illegal for black people to be owning business. If you were seen on the road selling something and you couldn't say it belonged to Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, you were arrested. So it was illegal for us to do that. We were supposed to be the one working for other people. So then you see people now, then when we had the 807 factory now, so we'll get some work in the factory for sew garments. At the high level, we got some work in the bauxite sector. So I really want young people to start dreaming bigger dreams. Dreaming bigger dreams. But yes, I want to work. All right? I want to work. And not just to fulfill somebody else's vision. Even with our, why so many young people now in Jamaica are not happy with the, what do you call this thing, the outsourcing jobs that come to Jamaica now, call center work.
The BPO sector. Yes.
The more BPO, because all right, you earn some money from it, but somebody else created these jobs to feed their economy. They're the one that get the profit. They're the one that satisfy their desires. We are just the hands to push it. I want our people now to go further, not just begging. Go to school, study hard, pass your exam, and beg somebody a work.
Okay. I want us to shift the discussion a little bit now to looking now at the employer, and for the employee preparing to present themselves to a prospective employee and do so in a way that will yield them a better opportunity for success. And I want us to start talking about resumes. Most times when persons are thinking about job seeking, that's the first thing that they think about, trying to craft that perfect resume. But beyond the resume, what are employers looking for that prospective employees should be mindful of and prepare themselves for to be considered a good candidate for selection?
Well, what, remember that, the employer wants to hire someone who will increase their profitability for them to make more money. Nothing wrong with that. So how will you fit in? Do you have the skills? Do you have the competence? Do you have the attitude? And better yet, have you demonstrated it before? So again, the biggest problem that we have now with the resume, typically most young people, say let's talk about that couple 100,000 people who are leaving high school. By the way, most of them don't even have 2CXE, 2C-Sec.
Right.
Realize that. The majority of people at the end of high school don't have 2C-Sec.
Okay,
So
I wasn't aware of those statistics.
When you see some of the numbers that so-and-so had 9 ones and 10 ones, that's less than 1% of those champion students and immaculate students and so on and things. But at least 60% of our students don't have 12% of our students leave high school with 5 subjects, including math and English. 12%. All right. So the vast majority, but so many of them are competing for what's available at the bottom of the pile. What makes a difference? Your attitude, your skills, your competence. And it's important for you in that resume to be able to show somebody now what have you done in the past that they can now see you can do something in the future. So when I tell people that volunteer work, volunteering, student government, activities in your community, being on the choir, being on the church committee, all of those what have been your achievements? Those are the things.
Would holiday jobs be something that would factor positively in that context? As
Absolutely. And whether it's a holiday job, it could be a holiday volunteer activity. I tell students, better you go out and work for nothing than stay home now do nothing. By you working for nothing, you're getting training, you're getting experience, and that person can give you a recommendation. So holiday job is fine, it's excellent, any kind of volunteer work, but anywhere you can show teamwork. I was the captain of the football team. I was the captain of a netball. That's important. I played on a winning team. That's important. All of these kinds of things, absolutely important.
Okay, one quick question before we head to the break. We're in an era where social media plays such a huge part of the youth and their time, how they spend their time, things that they engage in. How important or what role rather does a social media presence play in when an employee is looking at an employer is looking at prospective employees and for individuals to be mindful of what content they put out via social media?
That's a big one. We first had to navigate it once young people started having email. And I remember started seeing some email addresses. Hot sexy girl. Kick out boy teeth at Yahoo. Now, you don't. So 10 years ago, that's what we were encouraging young people to do. You need an email address that looks professional, not describing your sexual proclivity or your attitude towards violence. So I think some may have figured that one out now. But now social media is a whole nother thing because it's your public presence. And if everything that you see on the employer has a right to know who am I hiring. And once your name, look, Google your name. There are people who go as far as ask you, we want to see what's on your Facebook account. We want to see what's on your Instagram account because we want you to be part of our culture, part of our family. So we need to know who you are. So that once we're very careful, everything you put on the internet in any form is going to be there forever, even after you delete it. Somebody will have screenshotted it and saved it. So that's a very important component to be very mindful of the images and the comments that you put in social media.
Absolutely. All right, Dr. Samaj, thank you so much for being with us. We have to take a break and we will continue this conversation in a moment. You have been listening to and watching Family Time on Love 101, produced by Family Life Ministries. Have you answered our question yet? We really want to know what makes you an asset to any business. Tell us by WhatsApp text and voice notes rather. Ensure those voice notes are no longer than 30 seconds, and you can send those to 876-997-3125 or to the Love 101 Facebook page. Or you can give us a call on our studio lines, 876-968-8327 or 8328 to participate. We're also Facebook and YouTube Live, and we want to hear from you. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hi, are you looking for budget-friendly products to give you that wow factor? Look no further. To get the superb feel with wow appeal, pick up your wow and superb shampoos, conditioners, alcohols, sanitizers, and other beauty products at leading supermarkets, beauty supplies, pharmacies, and wholesale island-wide. Manufactured and distributed by Jamaica Beauty System, we're at 138 Orange Street, Kingston, and our number is 634-9259.
NIS pensioners, avoid the wait. Get your NIS pension straight to your bank account. It's easy. Simply visit the Ministry of Labor and Social Security's website, mlss.gov.jm, or the nearest NIS office and collect the direct deposit application form. Then complete the form and submit it along with supporting documents to the NIS office nearest you. Avoid crowds and long lines. Get your money when you want it. The National Insurance Scheme, always working for you.
Be forward! Is where you going? What do you mean? Me get my vaccine so me can touch the road now.
Touch road? You know your ears hard. The health people said this is only the first dose, and we need 2 doses to be fully protected.
Yeah? What do you mean?
What I mean, we're waiting for the second dose, Mr. Sir. So you try turn your yard and go and follow the protocols. Wear your mask, wash your hand, and keep your distance from other people.
Get vaccinated, get back to life. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Emerge from this pandemic stronger, qualified, and ready to work with local and international certificates in just 1 month at Distinction College. Start our formal 1-month super course Bonanza program, July 10 to August 14, and get certified in geriatric and pediatric nursing, phlebotomy, call center, customer service receptionist, business administration, cashiering, supervisory management, basic computing, childcare, nail tech, housekeeping, waitering. No subjects required, no age limit, no entrance test. Register this week and get up to 25% discount on all courses. Call us at 876-356-4167. Visit us in Kingston, Spanish Town, Ojoris, and St. Elizabeth.
Not easy.
You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child? We Jamaicans have been practicing this for years, a long time sing ting. There's a family in need, a child in distress. You open your heart and home to love up the child as your own. Them glad bag boss and yours too for years and years to come. Jamaican Christians, we need you to come in and fill up the village. Taking a child and raise him as your own. Taking a child and build up the nation. Ask Family Life Ministries about the For the Child Foster Care Program. Call 876-816-0889 today. This message is brought to you by Family Life Ministries in partnership with the Child Protection and Family Services Agency and Nairn Family Homes, Canada.
Bring the family back. Bring it back together.
Welcome back. It is now 6:01 p.m. and you are tuned into Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries, FLM. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for our numbers in Kingston and Portmore at the end of this program. Remember, we're Facebook and YouTube Live, so tune in to the program via the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. Dr. Leakim Samaj is our guest this evening. He's a psychologist and founder and chief ideator of Above or Beyond. Did I get it right this time?
Yes, you did.
Awesome. Our topic this evening is I Want a Job. So, Dr. Samaj, before we get into the next bit of questions, I just want to share a few comments that we have here from some of our listeners. And Audrey Brown says, volunteerism pays. It helps on your resume. It also gives your experience correction, also gives you experience, teaches you good work ethics, and to become a good team player. And another listener, Camille Hunter, she's saying, thank you for educating us. And we have another comment here from Audrey. Very profound. I always tell young people in my community that volunteering in an institution pays. So thank you so much for your comments, and please keep them coming. We love to hear from you. So, Dr. Samaj, we're switching the conversation back a little bit to the employees. What are some of the things that, as prospective employees, we do wrong or we do right when we're going through that job seeking phase? What are some of the common elements that you see that are, let's start with the wrong ones, the things that we need to get a handle on when we're going through the job seeking phase?
Okay. You mentioned resume a while ago. Mm-hmm. There's a resume toolkit. There's a job seeking toolkit. Resume, interview skills, that's important. Yes. But also how you're going to present yourself. Let me tell you, there's a very interesting gender difference. If a job requires 10 things, do you realize that most women don't apply unless they have all 11?
I wasn't aware of that, but
hold on. In contrast, a male will have one. And in gladly apply, man. But yeah, man, the good man, we can learn fast, man. Women lack that kind of self-confidence of presenting themselves. And that's what holds back some women. They need to feel like they have all the pieces in place. Whereas a male will just go in there with one thing and try and talk his way through it. But you need to know exactly what are the requirements of that job. They have educational requirements, they have skill requirements, they have behavioral, they have all kinds of requirements. You need to do the work. And it's embarrassing sometimes, when I ask where you want to live, how do you want to live? If you want to earn X, but you're not willing to go to school, you're in trouble. We'll tell people that from the beginning. If all you have is 2 CXC, there are very few things that you're able to do. Some years ago, a man, because he knows what I do in terms of, I do a lot of hiring, and he was my driver taking me to some places and back and so. He said, Doc, I want to ask you something, my wife looking for a job, I can give you a resume. I said, oh, God, I said, what can I do? Yeah, but listen, no, she was a supervisor at Mother's, and before that, he mentioned about 4 different fast food places that she has worked. Interesting. 2 years there, 3 years there, and then she's now 40. Right? I explained to him that what your wife has done, she has had a series of entry-level jobs. Most of the jobs in the quick service area are entry-level work. No, when she tries to get a job now, she's competing with the 200,000 people who just left secondary school with 2 CXE or less. She needs to go back to school. She needs to get herself more training, more skills, more competence, because she will forever be competing with the school leavers. We're not telling young people the seriousness of that. Entry, and too many workplaces now turn entry-level jobs into careers. In the US, who works in fast food place? Teenagers,
college students,
and college students. All right, and some old people, retired people too. Just for a little extra money. But we turn those jobs into career. Somebody can be working for KFC or Marcus, and they get their 20-year long service award. For what? So that's how our whole economy is so warped. So yes, entry-level job pays entry-level pay. But then you have 2 children and another one on the way, and you want to move from the one room, and you want to move from the capture land to, so that once you say, I want a job, you have to start telling yourself, no, what do I have to offer? What do I have to give? What can I do so that my employer can earn enough money to satisfy his needs and my needs too? So it's as hard as that. Too many people are leaving school only with entry level skills, but they want to make careers and they want to drive a car, they want a corner office, and they want to pay big rent and all of that. So the reality.
Okay. Well, along that vein, are there any other secrets, so to speak, or absolute tips that person should be aware of to get that dream job and to be able to grow and whether within that organization or to then move on to the next level, as opposed to, as you're saying, become stagnant in that entry level job and make a career out of it? What are some of the other things that we need to be mindful of and prepare ourselves with?
Okay, listen. The job that you desire, the area that you do your research. What is it that they are looking for? What is it that is? And by the way, again, if you can, if you know you're going in and you don't have what they ideally desire, be prepared to start at the bottom and do your work. I love to use myself as an example. When I decided I wanted to get into radio, with my fast self, I wrote a proposal because I want to write a proposal. I took it to RGR and they interviewed me and they said, "Ooh, we like the ideas that you have here. Well, what training do you have in radio?" I said, "None, sir." "What experience do you have in radio?" I said, "None, sir." Them look for a big man with PhD after a minimum wage. Because that is what you give people who have no training and no experience. Guess what? We take it. Because I wanted to get my foot in the door. You see, before the first month done, them kind of top up the money because they realize this don't make no sense. What this person is delivering is just way. In 2 years, I was the highest paid person in radio.
Wow.
You understand me?
Absolutely.
But if I did not take the risk on myself by taking that minimum wage to get my foot in the door, and we tell young people, "No, we can't leave my yard for that. We can't work for that." What value do you add that would enable your employer to pay you that plus the overheads that are required? They're not doing the work. So I'm saying is that you do the research in terms of what does that job pay? What do you need? Because one of the most common things, when you, especially at an interview, you ask them, "By the way, what salary are you expecting?" Most people, they stumble at that stage because they never did the research.
Yes.
Because you can talk to your friends. Jamaica Employees Federation have a salary survey that they put out. You can buy a page just for the area you're going into. So you can know what kind of salaries are there. But if you know that, then you can't. Sometimes you have to zig before you can zag.
Yes.
You start at the bottom and you work your way up. You volunteer, you help out. I've seen some classic things. I remember a man was working when I was at this company, this garment sector company. And this man, he was assistant production manager. So I said, "How long have you been in this business?" He said, "Well, quite a few years, So, but how he started? He started as a handyman. He was just see about the place. But one day, man, how you get job inside the office with air condition and that? So when you have to at least 5 CXC. Somebody told him that. He said, the man making plan. The first year, the 2 on pass. Then the 2 more. Then the 1 more. So about 5 CXC. Then he saw ad on the notice board for, production manager part assistant. He applied. So when he turned, and then, the man indicated that he has 5 years experience working in all sectors of the garment industry. He wasn't lying, because he sweep outside, he sweep in the factory, and sweep, all sectors. Whenever the mechanic was fixing the machine, he would walk behind him and carry tools for him. Right? So he got the experience. So when they called for the interview, they said, "What's man? The man knows all the machines that we have here. Where come from?" When they cut the day for the interview, they said the man sitting out there in white shirt and tie. But no boy is that. They never even know him name because I'm a casual laborer. "Yes, it's me, sir." But said, "Look, we was calling and asked him to question and run him same time." They asked him, "Well, can you run this machine, sir?" Is that your best question, sir? Let's start on the other side where the machine is not working. I said, boy, fool. Him say, every evening, sir, I try and fix the machines that's not working before I leave. But last night I could have to rush. But you see, this one, it have a short in the left side. If you just press on it hard, it will start. And I know many stories like that. Because he qualified himself. Remember, he was casual labor, you know. But him doesn't. The best example I can give you, the person who just demitted office as the managing director of Heart. Do you know where she started?
No, not familiar.
You know what scullery is?
No.
Pot washer. Scullery is pot washer.
Okay.
She started in the Heart school leaving program in the hotel washing pot. Then the next step, she got more training. And before you know it, the hotel sent her to do her degree. Next time I saw her, you know, she was food and beverage manager. The hotel sent her to do her master's. And then she did her doctorate. And then she became the head of Heart training school. But where she started? Scullery, pot washing. But she never stopped the education. Every chance she get. So that's the thing. Willing to start at the bottom, but don't stop your education, don't stop your training.
I would love for you to tie those examples to a point that you made at the beginning of the show, which is that when you spoke about attitude and the importance of attitude. And that's what essentially those examples lend itself to. So I would love for you to speak a little bit more and just generally the importance of having the right attitude and what that right attitude is.
Absolutely. One of the most important elements in the workplace and the attitude is that's what about cross training. You know what cross training is? Is willingness, ability to do a variety of jobs. The biggest obstacle to cross training oftentimes is many the workers themselves. Miss Benjamin, could you Miss Brown is not here today. Can you help out over here? It's not my job that as opposed to saying, but hold on, Miss Brown is not here. If I help out, I will learn some more skills and the more I do that. So enable yourself for cross training every chance you get. May I get more pay for that, sir? No, don't ask those kind of questions. Because the experience that you get from that cross training here, them can't take it back from you.
Yes.
You know how more skills and competence. And if they don't pay you extra for that, you go somewhere else. Well, listen, I was so and so, but I also assist in this and that and that and that. Right? So that's where the attitude comes in. Where you're willing to try things, you're willing to go above and beyond the call of duty. You're willing to do
that willingness to go above and beyond. One thing I would love for us to touch on a little bit. In preparing for this interview, I came across the topic of conscious and unconscious bias on the part of employers. And what is that, and how do employees position themselves to overcome that? If they can, that is.
If they can. Now, first of all, the extent to which the employee understand where these biases are, right? So you can position yourself so as to get around them, some of them. Huh? But my main target, and by the way, before we end, I want to tell you about a workshop, a webinar that I'll be having on this unconscious bias thing.
Okay.
Now, one thing that I encourage, we know that Jamaicans still have a bias against people who come from certain places. You know, there's a wonderful song by Atana, Wrong Address.
Yes.
And this bias is justified. I remember I had an employee, and there's a project we had out of town. And we had to leave Kingston by 5 o'clock. So I said, tell you what, we know it's kind of, the bus is kind of, I'll come for you. I'll come for you 4:30. So I said, no, doc, you can't come for me. I can't come for you. When we live, no strange car can't drive in there before a certain time unless the dam give permission. What?
Wow.
And in time we ask her to work late on something, but no, she have to ask permission first if she can, or she can't go home after a certain time and all of that. So there's some real issues. I remember a young man where he lived, bus don't run there, a taxi don't run there after a certain time. So when he has a late shift, you know what he did at work? This is a prominent company working, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He would hide and sleep in the bathroom.
Wow.
Because if they put him on the late shift, he can't get home because no taxi going in that community after time. So I actually called the HR manager and spoke to him and said, listen, here's this man's situation. Why don't you give him a double? Huh? Because of course he was hiding out, you know? So he gets a benefit. So he works the evening and the night, goes home in the morning. He does a double shift. So there's conscious bias. The unconscious bias has to do, a lot of it has to do with, look, we still have biases to do with skin color, you know. We still have bias to do with language style. Does a person speak total perfect English? The biases to do with how the person dressed. We have biases to do with perceived disability or disability. I've had a case recently where this man is disabled, but he was all the competence. Nothing in the job description said he must be able to leap tall buildings with a single bound. But there were, why? We don't like, I remember one woman, she was kind of pleasantly plump. But on that basis, they decided, no, she's too fat for the front office. So I'm saying, our biases, other places, it has to do with race, it has to do with we don't want, and we limit people. So that it's important for you, the employee, you're looking for a job, to understand how these biases work and to see to what extent you can make them have some biases in your favor. So what I tell young men, you wear a shirt and tie, go for the job interview, no matter what the job is. If it's a security job, guess what? The one with the shirt and tie won't get the supervisor job right away because the bias and say, oh, look at the young man look nice. They want to turn from that t-shirt alone and jeans. Huh? You probably can't get past the security guard where you're going. But at the same time, employers need to understand that these biases that we have, we are limited. Some people, it's the one piece, it's the one shirt them have, it's the one pants them have. Huh? There's a young lady that I was asked to work with during the COVID, in that this organization had a sort of an internship program. We were helping young people. There was a young lady, she had about 8 CXCs.
Okay.
And on top of that, now the CAPE, she had 4 CAPE.
Wow.
But where she was, she got an internship somewhere, but guess what? I can best describe it. She spoke a combination of ghettoese and dancehallese.
Wow.
You understand the point? The language style. Because that's where she grew, and even though she was academically bright, but every time when she opened her mouth, it's a different persona. At least they had the one person who worked with her. I was there doing teletherapy where I assist people with, stress management and so on, all of that. Somebody had President Mann to refer her to me that she needs some coaching. Because just as she opened her mouth, people didn't want to hear them further. Because you don't associate that language style with intelligence. Right? So I was able to help her to say, but listen. And she said, Doc, I know the right word, but somehow I'm not comfortable speaking it. But if I write, when she her written language was perfect. But when she speaks, because of her socialization and where she lives and how she interacts, she speaks. This is not the Jamaican patois. This is almost a ghettoese, dancehallese, kind of all the slangs that are in. So that I had to try and coach her out of that. But my thing, and I've had companies who asked me to help with young people, where because of some social behaviors which were inconsistent with good workplace practice. But at the same time, now you as HR manager, you as a manager, your own biases, it's not fair enough just to use the bias to eliminate the person. So you need to see beyond and around, because the person didn't choose where they grew up, didn't choose where they live. It was a function of those things.
Yes.
And worse it when you add race and color and class to it and so on, and language style to it. So this is something that we have planned, but interestingly, because it's such a big issue. Not just in Jamaica, it's a global issue, especially in countries that have a past having to do with slavery and oppression and multiculturalism and so on.
Yeah.
So we're doing this in conjunction with the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals. That is the US equivalent of HEART.
Okay.
So it's a webinar, so it's open to everybody. And we talk, and it will be on the 29th, between 10 to 11 on the 29th. And we would look managers, HR managers, recruiting officers, anyone who wants to understand the skills where these unconscious biases, you use it to limit people. It happens from the interview. No, we can't do that one. No, like the one, the dress on the right. What's that got to do with the skills and the competence? Where that one come from and so on?
Yes.
No. So and all this, by the way, it's on our website, so that's why I corrected you back to it. Above or beyond jm.com. All the information and how you register for this webinar is on that. But that is a thing that has limited a lot of our people. So that if you can do something, oh, by the way, to see your glasses, you know what I've actually encouraged one woman to do was to get a pair of glasses. Why? She looks young. You know what I mean? That's a young face.
Yes.
But this is a person who her level of skill and competence was such that it don't match her face.
Okay.
And people is always, people are assuming, but you look like you just in high school. So I said, let's not have to go that route. Get a pair of glasses. And comb your hair up. You know the kind of style, a little more mature style. So that the bias will now go in your favor. Whereas the normal way she combs her hair and her face, she look young. And no, because you look too young for a job like that. You look too young for a situation. So that you make the adjustment. Because you're here saying that you never get a second chance for a good first impression.
Absolutely. So
that you wear the kind of, look, when you go for that interview, wear a skirt suit. Wear a pantsuit. So it looks more professional because you look young. And here's a case where young not really helping you because people will associate young with incompetent, not even
and inexperience, yes.
And inexperience.
Yes.
So just to make sure that you will look so that the bias will now come in your favor. Yeah, that's real.
Absolutely. We have just about 2.5 minutes, and I'd love if you could touch on just quickly some of the negative attitudes that prospective employees may inadvertently possess, whether it be impatience, overconfidence, a bit of arrogance. And I mean, the list is extensive. What are some of the things that prospective employees can do to manage that and get that under control so it doesn't become a stumbling block when seeking jobs? Just about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, again, it starts with the interview. And you cannot be late for an interview.
Yes.
Right? So the problem is that if you're late for an interview, you realize that you're in trouble. Your resume can't have any typos in there. Because again, the problem starts there. So first of all, once you're called, they called me. Oh, by the way, if you apply for a job, you're gonna make sure that then the number that you have given is a number you go and check regularly. And a lot of young people don't have email anymore. Or they got the email just to apply for the job. And I'm trying to get in touch with them and they won't respond. Why? They forget the password for the email because they don't really use it. So then I just send a text message to their phone number. And that's how we got them. So even to understand those kinds of situations, that if you are expecting somebody to call you back for a job, you can't answer your phone, yo dog.
Absolutely.
It sound away because maybe somebody is calling. You call for an interview. Ask, what kind of interview is this, by the way? Will it be one person or a team? It makes a difference, Mr. Benjamin.
Absolutely.
You walk into a room for an interview and you have 6 people sitting in front of you. You don't plan for that. If they say, oh no, there are about 3 people, the marketing manager, this and that. Oh, could you give me their names? And you will research them.
Yes.
Look them up on LinkedIn so that you're familiar with them. You can ask intelligent questions. If they say where the interview is, and oh, by the way, tell me, what is the nearest bus? What bus stop should I come off to go there? You can't be experimenting the day after. You can't find, if you drive, by the way, is there parking there, sir? So ask all that. I mean, I'm telling you because I've been on the other side of this where people come in half hour late. Oh, by the way, do not appear a half hour early for your interview.
Okay.
You throw off the program completely because they have other people at different slots. They don't want you to book up with the other person. I have seen people come into an interview and see them boss waiting to be interviewed. You realize that's creates a problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So don't get there more than 5-10 minutes early, just in time to go in, go to the restroom and wash your hands and so on and all of that. Just those little things to make sure that you're prepared. Make sure you have questions. Any questions? Oh no, I don't have a question. No, you do some research. If the company has a website, familiarize yourself with the website.
Absolutely.
Young men, do not turn the people's workplace into your dating club. To see how many people there you can, right? Because you, especially now, as we're trying to pass the law regarding sexual harassment, you can make yourself a pest. Think it just being cute and so on and things.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
When lunchtime, you take your lunch break. Please, you want to impress people, please go to work on time or early.
And maintain that right attitude.
Exactly, and make sure that when it's time, when it's, and you don't want to. I heard somebody say, "Boy, they come work late every day, and then them leave early because them don't want late 2 times. Come late and leave late." No, put in the time. So you want to impress people. You want those little things go a long way.
Absolutely. Dr. Samaj, I want to say thank you so much for sharing with us this evening. You've put a lot of important information on the table, and I'm sure it has been, or our viewers and listeners have made notes and will be applying it going forward. So I just want to say a very special thank you for being here with us and sharing your wealth of knowledge with our listeners and our viewers.
Thank you very much, and remind them to www.aboveorbeyondjm.com, and they can get all information on the unconscious bias webinar.
Absolutely. Thank you again. And to you, our viewers and listeners, thank you for being here with us. If you still have personal questions of your own, you can give us a call at Family Life Ministries. For our center in Portmore at 117 Cecile Avenue, you can give us a call at 876-939-7917. And for other councils across the island, you can give us a call at our head office, 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. And we will connect you. Remember, listeners, if you or someone you know would like counseling on dealing with any issues in family, relationships, or just everyday life, please give us a call at Family Life Ministries and speak with a counselor. Note that appointments can only be made by calling the offices. And to keep up to date on what's happening with FLM and our programs, you can find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries, or you can join us on Instagram at FLMJA and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries-FLMJA. Before we leave you, here is the evening's verse. Diligent hands will rule, but laziness ends in forced labor. And that's taken from Proverbs 12, verse 24. I'm Theresa Benjamin. Thank you for joining us, and we invite you to join us again next week at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, Facebook and YouTube Live via the Love 101 Facebook page and the Love 101 YouTube channel for another informative program. Thanks again to our very special guest, Dr. Leakim Samaj, and thanks also to our show producer, Open Door Communications, and that's our show producer, Kathy Gale, my apologies, and Open Door Communications, and our studio facilitator, Neeson Williams, and of course you. Stay well, stay safe, stay blessed.